All right, guys, this is part two. So before I talk about I'll give a little lesson here, a little classroom, Ivan O'Meara classroom on the box office, right? Yeah. So let's say if a Hollywood company borrows $200 million from the bank, right? Am I right, guys? Yeah, Ivan, you're right. Yeah. Let's say if you borrow $200 million from the bank, they have to pay back the $200 million first, and once they pay back the $200 million, they're still negative because they're still negative because they paid back the money. You're still to negative, and you have to make another 200 million that you spent to what, to break even, obviously, to break even, obviously. But let's say they spent 100 million in marketing. Let's say they spent 100 million in marketing and putting the movies in the fee to put the movies in the theaters. They spent $100 million in that. That's $300 million. The Hollywood company now has to do 600 million to break even on a $200 million budget. You know what I'm saying? So if the movie makes 700, 650, 700 million, it's now profitable. But it's making it did not make a lot of money. It did not make a lot of big. It did not. It wasn't a hit. It made good profits, but it wasn't like a massive hit, obviously. Hence why movies that are made for $200 million, the Hollywood companies are expecting like a 750, 800 million plus, 800 million plus what, gross for the movie to be a hit, or 800, and then hopefully $1 billion. It would be a massive hit. If the movie is made for $200 and it made $1 billion, the Hollywood companies made a couple $100 million in profit. So that's a good investment, obviously. Some Sarah. Whereas for my company, I don't have to worry about paying back the bank because I'm not going to take any loans. And all I have to do is just exceed the amount of money I spent. I don't have to pay back the loan and then recoup what I spent. No, I just have to exceed the amount of money that I spent, which I will, obviously. If I spend a good 120 billion, $1 billion $20 on Zanus, obviously, I don't have to worry about paying back some stupid loan for my game or my movie. All I have to do is just exceed the amount of money. My profit has to exceed the amount of money I spent, which it will. I'm gonna make probably, I don't know, 40 billion bucks off my Zanus movie. A good maybe 5, 6 billion bucks off my game. So I'm saying I'm gonna make my money back. It's a good investment. See, me and VJ don't have to spend a dime on marketing costs. We have the keys. That's why everything is easy for me and VJ. We don't. I don't have to spend any money, zero money on advertising, because I have the keys. I have the keys. I'm saying I have the keys, obviously. That's why everything is easy for me and VJ, obviously. Yeah, and once I create my business account at the bank, obviously, I'll put $1,020,000,000 towards the Zanus movie project, 450, 460 million towards 450 is enough. 450 towards the Zanus game, Unreal Engine 5 Zanus game, obviously. I'm gonna have to me and VJ and George are gonna have to go land shopping, and George can help me find the property of land. And me and VJ will purchase the land. I want my land to be near the water with a beautiful view of the mountains, like that Gran Turismo look like picture I showed you. Yeah, that Gran Turismo picture I showed you. Yeah, and I'll put a good $150 million of my own money in towards building, towards a construction project for my Sky Source Studio property. And George's like, Ivan, you gotta be careful how you spend your money, man. You're blowing a lot of your money. I know, George, don't worry about it. I don't know. I have a good like $7.8 billion in my bank. I'm still fine. I have more than enough money. Trust me, George. I'm fine. I'm only gonna put $1,020,000,000 towards the movie, 450 towards the game, and 150 million towards the what? The construction project. My Sky Source studio. So I'll build the game studio, my studio office, obviously my small studio office, and my special effects unit building. My special unit building will be a big building. My game studio will be a big building. And I'll build my docking area for the yacht and my area for the jet and all that stuff. My sign, my Hollywood. You know that Hollywood sign in Hollywood? I'm gonna have something similar like that, except it says Sky Source in front of my building and it lights up at night. It looks like nice, man. Yeah. Sky Source Entertainment. Gardening work, cutting down trees, landscaping, all that stuff. Yeah, you gotta put money into that. Electricity, building the roads, building the parking lot. Yeah, it's all part of it, man. A lot of work. $150 is more than enough towards a project. I'll put a good 150 million, 150, 170 million towards the project. It's gonna be expensive, man. It's a big project, obviously. I'll fund it with my own cash. We're gonna have to work with my own cash. So I'm gonna have to meet with the architects. And they're gonna ask you, okay, Ivan, what do you want the layout of your property to look like? Okay, I want it to be something like this. I showed the Gran Turismo picture. Holy shit, Ivan, that's nice. George's like, holy shit, Ivan, that's nice. That's fucking beautiful. Yeah. Yo, Ivan, you want your office to be luxury but small? Yes. My studio office, I don't want it to be a massive building. It'll be a pretty big building, but I don't want it to be a huge building. I'm only going to hire 7 team, and I'll build a good, like, 3 extra computers. I'll hire 3 extra assistants to help them out, obviously. So, Ivan, what do you want? Okay, I want the layout of my studio office to be: you enter in, you have an automatic door, you enter in, obviously, you have the foyer, you have couches, and you have this where the secretary, you have an area open desk where the secretary sit, you have the sign Sky Source Entertainment, and that's where the 2 secretaries are going to work. The secretaries have their own office, but they don't have their own office of the other guys. They sit in this open desk, obviously, in front of my office, and that's where they work. And every time I'm gonna tell the secretaries, every time when someone calls you, say, "This is Sky's Entertainment, how may I help you?" You know what I'm saying? This is really top notch. "This is Sky's Entertainment, how may I help you?" This is really top notch, yeah. "This is Sky's Entertainment, how may I help you?" You know what I'm saying? So you want I want 2 floors. And you have an elevator that leads upstairs, obviously. And the elevator goes to the second floor. And the second floor is where me and VJ's office will be, obviously. My 2 service office will be. The accountant, the legal advisor, and head of production will have their own office. And on the far end, on the left or right, there'll be a boardroom. And that's the layout of my office. So it's a small office, but it's very luxury. I don't want it to be some massive office like fucking Disney's office. No. It's a smaller office, but it's a nice, luxury, top quality office. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously. I'm also going to have to plan out my special effects unit building. George Lucas will tell me how many departments there are, and we plan out the special effects unit building. Okay, we have the concert art room where I do the concert arts with Peter Jackson, all them. You have the sound mixing room. You have what? You have the web designer and graphic designer's little office, who they need to have an office to work, yes. You have the VFX room, you have the editing room, you have all these different departments. The sound mixing room, the sound department, all that stuff. The visual effects. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All that stuff, yeah. There's probably a good, Jordy Ivan, there's a good like 10, 12 departments. You're going to have to build all these different rooms for the party. You're looking at a big building. Something better than his ILM, man. Yeah, man. It'll be better than his ILM. Yeah, man. This is top notch. Obviously, I'm also going to have to plan out the game studio. Obviously, you have to build the recording studio where the actors can do voice recording, the area where they do the motion capture for the character face models. You have to build all that, yeah. And all these rooms where all the people work for the games, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The docking area, and I'm saying the electricity, the gardening work. Hey, Ivan, what do you think I forgot? Okay, I'm thinking something like this Grand Theft Auto picture here. You have nice landscaping. I want you guys cutting down a lot of trees. I want nice lighting at nighttime, and exactly as I want the front of the building to say Sky Source Entertainment, like that Hollywood sign in Hollywood. It says Sky Source Entertainment in front of my property, and at nighttime it lights up. Oh, we can do that. And then they plan it all out. I build this beautiful Grand Theft to look like probably something nice, man. There was like, holy shit, that's nice. That's nicer than my Scar Ranch. That's nicer than fucking Disney and Warner Bros. Fucking lot, Ivan. Yeah. Nicer than all those studios' offices. Yeah, man. This has been top notch. That's what my company will be top notch. That's why all the actors in the horror are going to want to work with me so bad. Once you see the documentary, holy shit, Ivan has a nice property of land. That's beautiful, yeah. All the actors and Peter Jackson all are going to be shocked. Ivan, this is your land? I'm like, yeah, holy shit, Ivan, this is nice. This is fucking nice, man. I want to work for Ivan, man, yeah. For the rest of my life, this is top notch. Yeah, that's what they're all going to beg. Because my company's better in Hollywood, yeah, man. Obviously. And then once all that's we designed they created the model. So they're gonna create a model of the whole property land of the whole construction project for my Sky Source Studio property. You know how when you saw Iron Man, you know what I'm saying? Iron Man, you saw what? You saw the Tony Stark Industries model of the whole land, the whole parkland, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have something like that for my Sky Source my Sky Source Studio property. Obviously, we're gonna design the whole property of the land, something nice, like that graphical picture I showed you, something beautiful. Now, once that's over with, I will now put out the ads for my 7 team. So how I wanted to work for my company, I want to hire a 7 team. C-list people are out. I'm only hiring a team who has Hollywood experience. You don't hire C-list people. No, hire people who have Hollywood experience. That way they know what they're doing and they're not lost, obviously. They know what they're doing when they work for you, obviously. So how it's going to work, I'm going to hire 2 secretaries who are going to be my administrative assistants and my co-assistant producers, obviously. And I'll hire an accountant, a lawyer or legal advisor, and a head of production, and 2 script developers. And the script developers are going to be also my co-CEOs, the boss of my company, running the company on my behalf. And I'll hire a couple assistants for each movie to help them out, obviously. That's how it's going to work. Obviously. So I'm going to put out an ad in Hollywood. I want 2 secretaries who have Hollywood experience, who worked for the big 5 only. That way I don't have to look as much resumes. You need to have experience working for the big 5 companies. So Disney, Warner Bros., Paramount, Fox, Universal, you know what I'm saying? Sony, if you have experience at Sony, you know what I'm saying? Sony, and that's fine. Just those companies. That way you narrow it down and me and VJ only have to look at like a couple hundred resumes. Me and VJ probably want to look at maybe 500 resumes for that. So it won't be that much resumes. Whereas if you have C-list people allowed to work for your company, you're looking at something crazy like 5, 10, 20,000 resumes. I don't have time to look at all that, man. And that's why I narrow it down to Hollywood people. That way you don't have to look at all these resumes. And C-list secretaries are not worth $1 million. As if I hired a C-list secretary, I would pay her like her $150,000, $200,000. I wouldn't pay her $1 million. They're not worth it. Whereas a secretary who has Hollywood experience, she's worth $1 million salary because she has that experience working for the best of the best and the best of the best, right? I know all you secretaries worldwide would love to work for me, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to hire a C-list. I know you want that $1 million contract. I'm saying, but you're what? you're not good for my company. I want secretaries who have Hollywood experience, and they'll be the boss of my company, obviously. But they will answer. The 3 and my 2 superheroes will be the boss over my secretaries, obviously. But I'm gonna have the secretaries have to be between the age of like 30, 35 to like 50 years old, around there. I don't want secretaries who are like 20, 25, nor secretaries who are fucking old, like 70, 60. No. I want them to be between the age of 35. Because they're experienced secretaries, chances are they're gonna be in their 40s. They're probably gonna be in their 40s, perhaps early 50s. Obviously. So I'm gonna have an age cap too. The secretary must be between the age of like 33 to like 50 years old, 48 years old. I don't want to hire some 7-year-old secretary. No, hire secretaries who are younger, always. That way they can work for you for like 20 years. I'm saying. And 2 secretaries is enough to handle all the business calls. As when I worked at Weedman for the biggest lawn care company in Canada, right? I got paid my shitty minimum wage, obviously, because they're fucking cheap. I remember about 8 years ago, I worked for a lawn care company called Weedman. Weedman, all you people in Canada, you know Weedman. Weedman is the biggest lawn care service in Canada, obviously. I did sales for that company, obviously. And I remember in one day I did like when I worked all day, I did like about like 200 calls in one day. And 2 secretaries can easily handle 400 calls in one day, which is more than enough. I might perhaps hire an assistant secretary to help me out. 2 is enough. Hire 2 to handle all the business calls. So secretaries will be in charge of handling all the calls for the agents and businesses, obviously. The business calls, the agents, if people want to do a world tour, they're gonna handle all that. Or I might hire an assistant to take care of that for me. We'll see what happens. They're responsible for handling all the administrative stuff, taking all the calls from the agents. This guy's entertainment, how might I help you, know what I'm saying? Taking all the calls from the actors' agents, the directors' agents, the screenwriters' agents, yeah. Taking all those calls, obviously. And what? They're also going to help my other guys with business calls. I don't pay you $1 million for nothing. I expect you to work hard. You think I'm going to pay you $1 million, a rich $1 million salary, and have you slack off and just do administrative work? You got nothing coming. No, man. You're going to be helping out the others with business calls. That's how it's going to work. See what I'm saying? So my deal for them is I'll pay them a $300,000 signing bonus. That's a good deal for them. If they want like a $2 million, I'm like, guys, I'm not going to pay you a $2 million signing bonus. You're not worth it, man. You're a fucking secretary. You know what I'm saying? My deal for you guys, a $300,000 signing bonus is a nice fucking signing bonus. Most secretaries don't make that kind of money in for all these big companies. No, they make like 200, 300K. I'm giving you a 300K sign bonus is $180,000 in your bank. You need to give them a sign bonus, that way they can have enough money to buy a house. If you want the secondaries to afford like a $2 million house, to buy a $2 million house, you have to put like a $100,000 down payment on that, man. Yeah, as you give them a nice $180,000 check after taxes, 300K. That way they have enough money to buy their house right away, and they have a good 80 grand, 50 grand for themselves to spend. They can feed their families for a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? And every 2 weeks they get their nice $25,000 checks. I'm saying. My deal for the two secondaries, I'll pay them a $1 million yearly salary, $300,000 signing bonus, $1 million yearly salary for the 4 years. So they'll make $4.3 million. They'll make $4.3 million for the 4 years of Zanis, and they get a $150,000 pole swimming bonus. That's a good deal for them. So the secondaries signed like a $4.45 million deal. It's a good deal for the secondaries. As no secondaries worldwide make that kind of money, man. They make like the highest paid secondaries probably make like 300K, 400K around the world. There might be a few out there who make $1 million, but I highly doubt it. Chances are they make like a couple hundred grand, obviously. Is there? Yeah. And I'll give them a $150,000 post swimming bonus. Obviously. They get their $2,000 gift card, $3,500 gas card. Obviously. And they get their commercial money. They get their $250K for the what? For the re-release. That's a good deal for the secondaries, obviously. But they don't get squat off the merch. Because they're not, my 7 team are not featured on my posters. And so they don't get any money off the merch, obviously. Only the actors get a piece of the merch. And I'll give them $5.5 million of the Sky of Swords film profits for the movie. That's a good deal for the secretaries. That way they can buy. That way they can pay their house off right away if they want. Yeah, if you give them a $5.5 million Sky Swords film profits deal, they're gonna work harder for me and VJ because they're now invested in the movie. They know they're benefiting off me and VJ's success. They're sharing in our wealth. And with that money, they can now get their nice Lamborghinis and nice Ferraris with that money. See what I'm saying? They can pay off their house. If they buy a $2.5 million house and they make $5.5 million, they make $3.3 million. They can pay off a good chunk of their house. They can take 400 grand and put it towards paying off their house. They can pay off their house very quickly, obviously. I'm saying that's my deal for the secretaries, and they will be the boss of my company. But even though they're the boss of my company, you have a ranking of power. You have me and VJ, and you have the 2 script developers, and you have the 3, then you have the secretaries. So I'm going to tell the secretaries, look, man, even though you guys are the boss over the crewmen and all of them, you're what? You're what? The other 5 are the boss over you guys. So that's how it's going to work, obviously. And then for the other 3, I'm going to hire an accountant, a legal advisor, and a what? An account, a legal advisor, and a what? An account, a legal advisor, and a head of production. That's how I want to work for my team. So the head of production is in charge of creating all the schedules for the movie project. Hire someone who has experience creating all the schedules for the entire movie project. He'll be my head of production. And I'll need an accountant. The accountant will be in charge of handling the business taxes, the salaries for the cast and crew, obviously, the budget, the draining of the budget. Yeah, he's handling all that, obviously. But most likely I'll hire a few assistants to help him out in Switzerland. Because I'm putting money into a super advanced payment system, 600K towards a super advanced payment system, the account won't need any help, as the system will do all the work for him. All he has to do is just punch in the contract, the term, the date, and everything, and the money. The system takes care of everything, and the money gets wired into all the actors and crew's account, and they get statements from their email how much money they got paid, their tax deductions, their age deductions, all that stuff. Everything's easy for them, Sarah. Yeah, and my legal advisor will be responsible for the laws. The laws, obviously. So he's handling all the laws. But even though those guys have their own individual responsibilities, they're also my assistant producers. They're going to be making business calls. So my head of production will be handling the schedule. My accountant will handle the business taxes and what? Business taxes paying the actors and crew and all of them, obviously, and the legal advisor will handle the law. Obviously, they're also my assistant producers. They're going to make business calls, and I'll pay each of them a $500,000 signing bonus and a rich 2 million, double what the secretaries make, a rich 2 million yearly salary for the 4 years. As they signed an $8.5 million deal for the 4 years. That's a good deal for them. And I'll give them a $250K post-filming bonus. They signed like an $8.75 million deal. They get the 2005 300 gas card, $250K for the release, commercial money obviously, and I'll give them $11 million of the profits of the film profit. That's a good deal for them. $11 million of the film profit. That's a rich deal. Has they signed a what? Like an $18, $19 million deal. It's a nice deal for those guys. So the secretary signed like a what? Like a $9 million deal, whatever it is. The other guys signed like an $18 million deal. They're making $18 million for the 4 years. It's a nice paycheck for those guys. So if you want to keep your team happy and have them not resent you, pay them what? Pay them a lot of money. That way they're happy, man. Because there's nothing worse than you and VJ making $40 billion bucks. You know what I'm saying? You only pay them $2 million, $1 million. No, because they're your team and they're working for the biggest film company in the world. Make sure you give them a nice deal. Give them a nice piece of the profits. But don't let them rip you off. If the secretaries want like a $50 million signing bonus, $20 million piece of the profits, my guys, you rip me off. I'm not going to pay you that. $5 million is good enough. You're getting greedy. The other guys want like a $30 million for the profits, my guys. I'm not going to pay you that. $11 million is enough. It's a good enough deal. And I can give them small little raises per movie. The secretaries, I can give them $6 million for the Great Escape. The other guys, I can give them $12 million for the Great Escape. Give them a little bit of a raise for the royalties. I'll do the same thing for my 2 script developers. And last but not least, the 2 script developers I'm going to hire 2 script developers in Hollywood. 2 script developers in Hollywood. They're going to help me co-write the script. They're in charge of they're in charge of the development of the script. So they're gonna help me with the development of the script by helping me co-write the script, obviously. And they're also gonna what? They're also gonna what? Be my executive producers, the boss over the other 5, the boss of my company. They're gonna run the company on my behalf. They're gonna be my presidents or my co-CEOs of the company, obviously. And those are the 2 guys who are gonna make the most money. They're going to make way more than everyone else because they're the boss of my company. They're co-CEOs of my company, obviously. See what I'm saying? So the script developer's duty will be to help me with the development of the script. Help me co-write all of the scripts, obviously. Help me print the scripts. Organize the scripts, obviously. And he also helps me with the others with business calls. We're doing business calls. They'll be doing business calls. And those 2 guys will be the boss of my company. That's how it's going to work for the structure of my team, obviously. And my top candidates, the 2 script have to work for the big 5 companies too. So my top candidates right now are Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, you know what I'm saying, Ryan Coogler, Rian Johnson. You have J.J. Abrams, you have Peter Rice. Peter Rice is a good candidate too, obviously. You have James Gunn, you have Zack Snyder. You also have the Russo brothers. Those are the guys I'm thinking of right now. I don't know who I'm going to hire. I have no idea who I'm going to hire. I might perhaps hire Peter Rice and maybe James Gunn, perhaps, instead of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, yeah. But somebody tells me I'm going to click the best with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I don't know, man. It's just a gut feeling I have. Somebody tells me Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are the right guys. Yeah, I'm going to click the best with those guys over everyone else. I don't know. See what I'm saying? But all those guys are going to be sending in their resumes, man, because they all want to work for me so bad. My company pays more in Hollywood, and my company's better in Hollywood, yeah. So Jon Favreau, if I were to sign him, I'll sign him to a $34 million signing bonus. That's a good deal for him. And I'll pay him what? Yeah, $34 million signing bonus. And I'll pay him like $6.8 million yearly salary for the first year, $3.5 million yearly salary for the other years. That's a good deal for him. $250K post-wing bonus, commercial money, $2,000 300 gas card. You know what I'm saying? $250K for the re-release. That's a good deal for him. And I'll give him $100 million of the royalties for the Zane's movie project. Or 0.2 or 0.1, whatever deal works best for him. And then Dave, I can pay him $15 million signing bonus, 2.1 yearly salary, commercial money, $2,000 300 gas card, $250K for the release, $250K post-running bonus. I'm saying that's a good deal for him. And you can give him like $38 million of the royalties. Dave Filoni. That's good enough for him. $38 million of the royalties for Dave Filoni. 38, 40 million. 38's good for Dave. $38 million of the royalties for Dave Filoni. That's a good deal for him. He's not as big as John. Or give him 0.1 or 0.07. So I'm saying, that's a good deal for Dave. Obviously. But Peter Rice is a good candidate for the two Super Bowl. He's a good candidate, Peter Rice. Yeah, Peter Rice is a good candidate. He got fired from Bob Chapek fired him. Obviously, he's a good candidate for the boss of my company. You can have him be, but he's not a creative guy. He's a what? He's a business guy, right? He's not a creative guy, obviously. That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? You also have James Gunn. I can grab James Gunn from DC if you want. James Gunn, I believe, signed a 4-year contract with DC. I'll be starting Scorsese in a good, like, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years from now. So James Gunn's contract will be up, obviously. So he might be available. He might send his resume. I might grab him from DC. You never know. We'll see what happens, obviously. I think James Gunn and Peter Rice are a good combination. Or Jon Favreau and James Gunn. That's a good. Except James Gunn's more expensive than Dave Filoni, so I'm saying. Like James Gunn, I'd give him like $50 million of the profits for the movie. And I'd pay him like a 25 million sign bonus. 26 million sign bonus for all my movies. And like, I don't know, first year I'd pay him like a, 4 million yearly salary and like 2.8 million yearly salary for the other years with this $26 million sign. That's a good deal for him. I'd give him like $50 million of the profits. It's a good deal for James Gunn. He doesn't make that in Hollywood. He doesn't make that kind of money in Hollywood, I'm saying. My two Super Bowls will be the boss of my company. They're running the company on my behalf. They'll be my presidents or my co-CEOs of the company. And Ryan Coogler, I'd pay him, I don't know. Ryan Coogler, I'd pay him like a what? Like a 20, I don't know, 20, like 2 million sign, 21, 22 million sign bonus. And I'd pay him like a 3.5 million yearly salary for the first year. And like 2.5 million yearly salary for the other. That's a good deal for him. And I give him a good maybe $45 million of the profits. He's not as big as James Gunn. I'd pay him a bit less. $44, $43, $45 million of the profit. That's a good deal for Ryan Coogler. Live a great life with his wife and kids, I'm saying. It's a good deal for him. Or I give him 0.1 or 0.07. But chances are all these guys are going to choose Ivan, just give me the flat deal. It's better, yeah. Sign Ryan Coogler like a $44 million deal for the royalties. This is excluding his $22 million signing bonus and his rich yearly salary, obviously. He also gets the perks. He gets the 2,000 gigabyte 300 gas commercial money, $250K for the re-release. It's a good deal for Ryan Coogler. And Ryan Coogler is very talented. He doesn't have as much producing experience, but he has a lot of like directing and screenwriting experience. That's why he's very good for the job too. You also have Ryan Johnson. If Ryan Johnson is worth like $100 million like Jon Favreau in a good like 4 or 5 years from now, because of his deal he signed with Netflix for Knives Out, I'll match his contract with Jon Favreau's contract. $100 million of the profits, 34 million sign-ons. I'll match his offer with Jon Favreau's offer, obviously. So I'm saying. Yeah, so that's how it's going to work for my, and that's the structure of that's the layout and structure of my 17. You have 2 script developers, accountant, head of production, legal advisor, and my 2 secretaries. That's how it's going to work for my 17. That's how I want it to work. And I'll hire assistants to help him out with the calls, obviously. So for Zayas, I'll have Peter will help me reach out the calls. Guillermo del Toro, Fran, and Barry Osmond, if I choose those guys, right, they're going to help out my 17 with the calls. That way they get things done. They get things accomplished faster, so I'm saying. And that's the structure of my team, obviously. And because my 2 superstars are the co-CEOs of my company, I'm paying them way more than the other guys. The other guys are not making as much as them. Hence why, if I end up hiring, I don't know, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, or like Peter Rice, James Gunn, I'm gonna tell guys, man, like, keep your fucking conscience to yourself. Don't brag to the other guys that the amount of money I'm paying you. They can get envious, man. You're making way more than them. Even though my secretaries and the other 3 are making they signed a rich contract. They're making a lot of money. millions in the bank, obviously. It's not the kind of money the two script roles are making. As Jon Favreau signed his $100 million deal for the royalties, Dave signed his $38 million deal. It's a massive contract, obviously. They're making way more than all the other guys. James Gunn signed his $50 million contract for what? $53 million contract for the royalties. You know what I'm saying? If he tells them, yeah, I signed a $53 million deal for the royalties, they can get envious. That's $53 million is $30 plus million in your bank after taxes. You're making way more than the other members of the 17th. They can get envious, obviously. So, Sarah. That's why, guys, keep your conscience to yourself. You're more than welcome to tell them whatever you want. It's freedom of speech, man. But if they resent you, if you have workplace resentment going on, it's your fault. You told them how much I paid you, and now they resent you a little bit because you're making way more than them. Because there's nothing worse than knowing someone makes way more than you, man. It's not a good feeling. It's a shitty feeling. I know that feeling. I had people bragging how they bought houses and all that stuff, and I was envious when I was working at Coors. So imagine if I can get envious about that. Imagine what. You know what I'm saying? My two supervisors telling the other five that they're gonna make way more than those guys. That's what I'm saying. They're making way more than those guys. They feel like shit. That's why keep the conscious self. Yeah. And my 17 are gonna get perks. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be part of the takeouts with me, part of my condo, my yacht. They get to fly on my private jet. Obviously, they get to fly on my private jet. Obviously. The luxury buffet, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they get all the nice perks, obviously. They get to work in the nice ground to property. They get their own office, their own nice office, luxury office. Yeah. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, James Gunn, Ryan Coogler, Rian Johnson, whoever I hire, right? Peter Rice are all going to get their own office. They have their own. The two Switzerlands share the same office, but the other guys get their own office. Yeah, they get their own nice office, man. Yeah. My guys, make sure you dress casual to work and don't abuse your breaks. That's why I'm going to put money into a clocking device system in my office. That way they don't abuse their breaks, obviously. Break time, and you have 50 minutes, and after 50 minutes, everyone has to go back to work. But I'll give them 2 50-minute breaks, a 1 hour lunch, and 2 50-minute breaks in the afternoon. And at 5 o'clock, everyone's done work. So you work from 9 to 5 and you're done work, obviously. And make sure you dress casual to work. You don't have to wear suits, but just make sure you dress casual. Nice. You dress casual, dress neat and casual to work. This is the biggest film brand in the entertainment industry. You need to represent well. Dress very well to work, obviously. Don't wear fucking t-shirts and jeans. No. Dress casual to work. I have a teacher saying, yeah. And they all listen to me because they don't want to be fired. They know they're safe. They all want to work for me. They don't want to be left behind. Yeah. That's why Scotch is coming to be the best brand in the entertainment industry. Yeah, man. Anyways, this video is Ivan Amir. I'm going to upload this video, take my shower, go to the store, get my beer, and supposed to enjoy the video with you guys. Ivan Amir, I'm signing up. Peace.